In this lesson, I am going to break down 5 typical mistakes that most people make when betting on 2 or more goals and show you how a professional identifies the structural pricing errors that others miss. By the time we finish, you will have a clear framework to ensure you're on the right side of the probability every single time. The first mistake is taking the price for over 1.5 goals at kickoff. This is the most common error for anyone starting out because it feels like the safest way to place a wager since you have the full 90 minutes for 2 goals to arrive. What this mistake represents is a total lack of price discipline and a failure to understand how market efficiency works. At kickoff, the odds for 2 goals in a high-scoring league are often squeezed down to somewhere between 1.20 and 1.30. Mathematically, you are risking a large portion of your capital to win a very small return, and you would need a strike rate of over 80% just to break even over the long term. When I first started out, I didn't even know you could place bets in play, so I would place my bet right at kickoff. But in reality, you can gain a small edge by watching and waiting for the match to warm up before placing your bet. You gain additional information and a better price, which makes it easier to profit in the long term. And how you should approach this correctly is by using the in-play drift. You want to let the first 15 to 20 minutes of the match pass while the score remains 0-0. As the clock ticks, the bookmaker's mechanical model decays the price of the over goals line. By waiting until the 20-minute mark, a price that started at 1.30 might now be sitting at 1.55 or even 1.70. You are getting a much higher return for the exact same tactical superiority. You are essentially cutting out the feeling out period of a match and only putting your capital to work when the reward matches the statistical expectation. For example, if you are watching a match in the German Bundesliga where both teams are attacking frequently but the score is 0-0 after 20 minutes, your structural expectation for 2 goals has not changed, but the market is now paying you a professional price to back it. Now the second mistake is really important, and that is chasing glamour leagues like the Premier League or the Champions League for your over 1.5 goal wagers. Most punters assume that because these leagues are full of world-class talent, they are the best place to find goals. What this mistake represents is a total misunderstanding of how bookmakers prioritize their resources. Why it matters is that these major leagues are the most heavily modeled and sharpened markets in the world. There is almost zero mispricing for you to exploit because the bookmakers have more data and more eyes on these teams than anywhere else. What most bettors do wrong is paying a brand name tax for matches that are priced to perfection. How to approach it correctly is by looking for what I call steady scoring leagues that exist outside the mainstream spotlight. You want to find leagues where the average goals per match sit between 2.1 and 2.6, with a historical over 1.5 hit rate of 70% or higher. For example, certain divisions in Scandinavia or South America often provide these high probability environments. These are quiet markets where public interest is lower, allowing you to find genuine value in the gaps the bookmakers leave behind. You are looking for high-tempo attacking intent in a league where the prices have not been squeezed by millions of casual bets. By focusing on these less efficient markets, you are essentially choosing a battlefield where the bookmaker is at their most vulnerable. By the way, if you like videos like this and want to see more on this subject, remember to click the like button. It tells YouTube to send you more of this kind of content. And while you are there, you should hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss a system or strategy video. Now the third one is something most bettors completely overlook, and that is backing matches with asymmetric attack profiles. This is what we call the 1-0 trap. What this mistake represents is backing over 1.5 goals in a match where only one team is projected to score heavily. For example, a match where the home favorite is projected to score 1.6 goals, but their opponent is projected at a measly 0.4. Why it matters is that this structure makes your wager entirely dependent on a single team's performance. If that dominant side scores early and then decides to manage the game or rotate players to save energy for their next fixture, the match often stalls at 1-0 and your bet is a total loss. Out of curiosity actually, have you experienced this? Backing over 1.5 goals and watching as a dominant team like Arsenal closes out a 1-0 win. Frustrating, but it is important to be aware of this possibility. And how you should approach this correctly is by looking for offensive symmetry. On the whiteboard, we want to see both teams projected to score at least 1.1 to 1.3 goals individually. This ensures that both sides have the tactical intent to contribute to the scoreline. Let's say you are watching a match where the home team is attacking, but the away team is also hitting dangerous counterattacks and has registered at least 0.5 expected goals in the first half. This symmetry widens widens the probability distribution and significantly reduces the risk of a single team shutdown ruining your position. When both teams are playing for the win, the chance of seeing that second goal increases dramatically, especially in the final 20 minutes when the game opens up and spaces appear. You want to back matches where the environment suggests a back and forth game rather than a one-sided siege that could end in a narrow 1-0. By the way guys, if you want to skip all that manual research and find the best opportunities for over 1.5 goals instantly, the Statto app is a brilliant research accelerator. Instead of spending your morning manually analyzing match data and recent form across dozens of leagues, you simply press the relevant prompt and let the artificial intelligence do the heavy lifting for you. The Premium Bets menu prompt automates the entire research process and generates a shortlist of the best over 1.5 goals picks for the day instantly, allowing you to find the genuine value spots where the probability and price diverge. So you can use Statto before the matches start to build a shortlist of games that might become good in play opportunities later once you see that tempo building on the pitch. It is all about time saving and simplicity, ensuring you stay focused on your shortlist without the headache of manual data entry. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to download the app to get signed up. This next mistake catches a lot of bettors out, and that is ignoring tactical suppression environments such as first leg knockout ties or relegation 6-pointers. What this mistake represents is ignoring the human and tactical incentives of the match. Why it matters is that even the most aggressive attacking teams will change their behavior based on the weight of the occasion. In a cup final or a first leg tie, the fear of conceding is often far greater than the desire to score, leading to cagey, low-tempo affairs where both teams are happy to settle for a 0-0 or a 1-0 result. How you should approach this correctly is by treating these high-pressure fixtures as underleans or simply standing down entirely. You want to target normal league matches where the teams have a consistent points-based incentive to win, rather than survival-based environments that suppress risk-taking. For example, a mid-table clash in the Spanish La Liga, where both teams are safe from relegation but still chasing a higher finish, is often a much better environment for goals than a high-stakes bottom-of-the-table battle, where a single mistake could lead to financial ruin. You are looking for a match where the cost of attacking is lower than the reward of winning, which naturally leads to the more open game script required for the 2 goals we need. And finally, the last mistake, and honestly the most impactful insight of the entire video, is the mistake of multifold accumulator madness in the over 1.5 market. Because the odds for 2 goals are naturally lower, casual punters often stack 10 or 15 teams together to try and juice up the payout to a massive long shot. What this mistake represents is the mathematical compounding of the bookmaker's margin. Why it matters is that each leg you add contains a house edge, and when you multiply them together, you are making it statistically impossible to win over the long term. What most bettors do wrong is chasing the lottery win from tiny stakes, but professional profit is built on win rate stability. How you should approach this correctly is to keep your folds as small as possible, ideally doubles or trebles. Let's say you have identified 3 matches where the true probability of 2 goals is 80%, but the price implies only 65%. Stacking just those 3 together in a treble creates a much more resilient and profitable position than a 20-fold long shot. You want to focus on high-frequency, repeatable wins where your edge is protected by the maths, rather than throwing your bankroll at selections that land about as often as a total eclipse. Consistency in this market comes from being a sniper with small value-based multiples, not a machine gunner with massive hope-based accumulators. And like I said earlier guys, hours of manual research and trying to calculate these probabilities and league profiles yourself are no longer necessary if you want to professionalize your approach. Statto dramatically speeds up the process by providing structured betting insights instantly. It handles the heavy lifting of data analysis, using artificial intelligence to scan thousands of matches and identify exactly where the projected probability exceeds the bookmaker's price. You can use Statto before the matches start to build a short list of games that might become good in play opportunities later once you see that tempo building on the pitch. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen right now to see how the artificial intelligence can accelerate your research and sharpen your professional edge. It really is a serious upgrade for any football bettor who wants to move away from the guesswork and start using a disciplined, data-led process. I really hope this deep dive into the 5 typical mistakes when betting over 1.5 goals has shown you that long-term success comes from structure and price discipline. not just guessing where the goals will be. When you stop taking the bait of kickoff prices and start matching your selections with the actual tactical structure of the match, your results will naturally follow. Thank you so much for watching and for your time today. Remember to click that like button. It tells YouTube to show you more of this kind of content. As always, the learning shouldn't stop here. There is actually another video on the screen right now that I think you'll find very useful if you want to keep building your knowledge and sharpening your edge. Go ahead and click that, and I'll see you over there.